I'd never be able to call to make a dinner reservation. Think Charlie takes online reservations? Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2014 action thriller John Wick. It stars Keanu Reeves, Michael Nyqvist, Alfie Allen, Adrianne Palicki, and Willem Dafoe, and was directed by Stahelski. John Wick tells the story of former hitman, John Wick, played by Keanu Reeves, who's left his former life behind to get married. Following the death of his wife due to illness, Wick is attacked by the Russian crime syndicate leader's son, Yosef, played by Alfie Allen, who steals his car and kills his dog, which was a parting gift from his wife. Fueled by his grief, Wick comes out of retirement to seek revenge on Yosef and anybody who gets in his way. At its core, John Wick features one of the most straightforward and simple plots you could have in a movie. It's a revenge story through and through. But you don't have to dig too deep below that perceived simplicity before you realize that there's more to this movie than initially meets the eye. Before watching the film, it could be easy for somebody to lump John Wick in with any number of revenge-driven action thrillers, but after actually seeing it, they would realize that this film is a uniquely compelling take on the genre that stands apart from the rest of its cinematic cohort. There's no doubt that John Wick is an action movie, and I'll get to the action in a minute, but this movie has an incredibly strong emotional core. Action for action's sake can be fun and entertaining, but when a filmmaker is able to blend that action with an actual reason for its existence, you end up with something entirely different and far more compelling. The first 10 minutes of this film are extremely effective at setting up the emotional foundation for the story and the character of John Wick. The mostly dialogue-free introduction to our titular character nearly rivals the emotional impact of the opening minutes of Pixar's Up, and with that backstory, we understand. We see his motivation and reasoning, and so we're solidly in his corner throughout the movie, no matter what actions he takes. Speaking of actions, John Wick has some of the most entertaining and interesting action sequences I've ever seen in a movie. There are 4 or 5 big fight scenes, and each one has its own unique and exciting elements that prevent the action from ever feeling monotonous. I've seen plenty of movies that feature so much gunfire that it becomes meaningless and, ironically, boring to watch. But that's not the case here. Guns play a major part in the fight sequences, but they never feel gratuitous. Every shot counts, and every shot is part of an expertly choreographed and staged scene. The director's background in stunt choreography really shines through, with every Wick fight meticulously designed to be both entertaining and slick. His fluid fighting style is just so incredibly cool to watch, mixing grappling martial arts styles like judo and jiu-jitsu with close-range tactical gun use, a blended style the choreographers aptly named Gun Fu. Throw in the fact that Keanu Reeves did most of his own stunts, allowing the filmmakers to film the action in a way that you can actually see what's going on, and you've got one well-crafted action movie. In addition to the action, this film is absolutely steeped in its slick, cool aesthetic. The way Wick presents himself, the seemingly endless connections he has, and even the formality of the assassin underworld, with its code, gold coins, dinner reservations, and, of course, the Continental. The cinematography showcases the balanced slickness of Wick's world, and the relatively calm soundtrack provides a counterbalance to the frequently intense action of that world. Populated with an array of characters ranging from mafia thugs to suave hitmen, and we're treated to an incredibly interesting world-building mythos to surround an already intriguing character. So, John Wick really is unlike most other action movies, and similarly, the character of Wick is unlike the typical action movie hero. We can't really consider him to be a good guy, but he's the hero of the story. He's an effective and brutal killing machine once provoked, but still manages to retain his humanity. Not towards his enemies, of course, but he remains a likable character throughout the film. His actions, while over the top by reality's standards, feel justified, and all we have to do is sit back and join him on his vengeful journey. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number 1 is definitely the action. This film has some of the most entertaining and well-designed fight sequences I've ever seen. Wick's fighting style is mesmerizing to watch, and although these fights are intricately choreographed, they never feel unnatural. John Wick perfectly melds martial arts close quarters combat with tactical firearm use to create a fighting style that is effective, cool, and extremely fun to watch. Keanu Reeves underwent extensive fight and driving training for this role, and it really shows. Literally. Because he does most of his own stunts, the filmmakers let the action play out in full view without unnecessary quick-cut editing. The second pro is the world of John Wick. Despite being a fairly simple revenge story, this film reveals the extremely interesting assassin underworld of New York City. With his return from retirement, Wick takes us along for the ride and introduces us to a whole host of characters and rules. Everywhere he goes, he encounters people he knows. Probably not quite friends, but at least old associates. The gold coin currency offers an enticing peek at the customs of this world, and the Continental provides a slick, suave setting to expand upon the rules that govern these characters. Nothing is quite fully explained, which leaves you wanting to know more about the assassin underworld and Wick's history within it. As far as cons go, I really don't have any major issues with this movie. I guess if I had to pick something, it'd probably be the visual style of the subtitles. They're integrated into the shot rather than simply being at the bottom of the screen, which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes seemingly random words are highlighted by a different font and color. It might have some significance I didn't catch, but it gives the movie this kind of cheesy comic book graphic novel feel when it happens. I'm gonna give John Wick 4 out of 5 paws. Even though it's a pretty straightforward story, John Wick and his plight are extremely compelling. The action is entertaining and fun without losing any of its realistic brutality, and the film gives us a glimpse into the assassin underworld, leaving us wanting more. I would recommend John Wick to anybody who's a fan of action movies or revenge stories. The action in this film is incredibly satisfying, and Wick does some amazing things without ever feeling over the top or unnatural. Everything has a slick, cool fluidity to it, but always remains gritty and visceral in its execution. The emotional undercurrent that drives Wick on his quest for revenge also prevents this movie from ever just being action for action's sake, setting it apart from other visually distinct action films. If you liked John Wick, I would recommend you check out A History of Violence for another former hitman forced to come out of retirement story. The action isn't quite as elegant, but it does feature some violently gritty scenes and a strong emotional core to the story. I would also recommend the 2004 remake of Man on Fire, starring Denzel Washington. It's another emotionally driven action story, this time centering around an abduction rather than just pure revenge. Finally, if you love the fighting and general aesthetic of John Wick, or just want a female twist on this type of film, be sure to check out Atomic Blonde for some more fantastic action sequences. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen John Wick? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite revenge movie? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it so you can see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.